Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And today we are back once again with the H-135. Yet another update, continuing to give you guys the live feed progress on this as it comes out. And once again, these guys are continuing to blow me away with the advancements of this aircraft, and it's coming more and more together. Let's find out what those changes have been. Alright, so as always, you guys can find this aircraft on the FlightSim.2 website, linked down in the description below. It's towards the bottom of the mods list that I use, and it's got quite the changes on it. Now, the way that I'm doing this is just reading the changelog from the website. I'll bring that up for everybody here, so you guys can follow along with me. It's quite a nice one, and then we'll go through the aircraft and actually take a look at some of these ourselves. Alright, so let me throw this up on the screen here, and let's scroll on down to the changelogs for today. And again, I'll let you guys just peruse through some of these, but we can go through a couple of them that I found to be interesting. The windshield glitching in the rain and fog is fixed. Rain effects are now enabled, so now you're going to get raindrop effects actually on the window. The door positions are no longer sunk in across H-135s in multiplayer. Sun visors now installed, pitot tubes, that's always awesome. Of course, the new livery, which I'm displaying on the screen behind us when we get back to the aircraft. The overhead panel added the standby battery. Overhead added other switches. Added a cockpit or a panel light. Cockpit color is now darker, and that's important to mention. I said I wasn't going to go through all these, but I guess I am. That's important to mention because it really does change the way everything looks. It's going to affect our depth perception and everything like that from inside the cockpit. Let's see here. The rotor cap is now glossy. They took away that matte sort of plastic look to it, and we can see that in the external view here in a minute. May now use the left click on the MFD knob when in barrel mode to set back to standard pressure. So that's a really nice one to have. Removed unusable switches from the overhead. That's awesome as well. It makes it less cluttery. Fix the Epu Texture Flickering. I actually noticed this last time in the previous video. You can see when the external power unit is up, it's actually like blinking. Fixed unmapped Epu textures. That's always awesome. Added collective pitch animation to the main rotor. That's always excellent too. There's just a bunch of added a tools folder linked to the paint kit, EFB Connect, livery upgrade kit to repair white cockpit, and a user setup package. So this is going to be pretty interesting. We're going to take a look at what that looks like here today. Let's see here. Reduce autopilot, trying to restore attitude prior to a different autopilot mode being selected. That's always a good thing too. I did notice that last time. Anytime the autopilot was used or changed modes, it would be very aggressive. And then restrict EPU visibility to valve open or on the aircraft. And then the GTN 750 map interlock to prevent crash to desktop. So these guys are really pushing hard here. It's really impressive to see some of these fixes. No adjustments to the flight model today, but as always, for anyone who hasn't seen this bird up and moving, I am definitely going to go and take a flight because I like flying it. But let's go ahead and jump back into the simulator. All right, so taking a peek around here for a second, you guys can see the textures again. They look amazing. They're really coming a long way. These guys are really, really working hard, especially from the shadow side. You can see a lot of the reflections. Some of it's a little overbearing, but I don't know how much of that is the livery versus how much of that is the modeling of the aircraft. But don't get me wrong, please. It's still amazing. I mean, in these reviews, I try to be nitpicky on purpose. That way I don't sound like I'm being, biased. I'm not trying to, pitch one direction or the other. I'm trying to give you guys my honest review of these things. So that's why I get picky like that, is just because I got to find something, right? Otherwise it just looks like I'm favoriting it. But you can see the rotor cap there really adds a lot. I'm really hoping soon they retexture the rotors themselves. I think the rotor blades need a lot of work in regard to, again, taking away that Lego effect, as I call it, where it just looks really plastic. If you look at this rotor here, it almost looks like it's bent downwards, so there definitely needs to be some texture adjustment there. But I mean, guys, if you take a look at the first video I have on the H-135, this thing has come miles. This hype team is just absolutely kicking ass. Pardon my French. All right, and if you are French, pardon me for using that term. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and jump into the cockpit. All right, so stepping into the seat here, guys, I can already see massive differences. Look at the collective handle compared to previously. For any of you who have been following this along, huge, huge difference in the collective handle. That's massive. It looks absolutely fantastic. If we zoom down in on it, just look at the detail. The detail is really just coming miles and miles away. The center console, gosh, this thing has just, it's making leaps and bounds. Every time I jump in it, there's just huge differences into the texturing, the depth of the controls, the screens. The glare is being reduced more and more as far as that over powerful reflection, kind of like what we're seeing up here on the top of the standby ADI. The flight stick, this thing has gone miles. This is a huge update, I think, for me, as far as I recall. The flight stick looks great, but look at you can see the palm hands, and the thing that's supposed to be palm hands. The fingertips back here makes sense, but that almost looks like a thumbprint. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but that's all right. Still, again, all those, they add a lot when you really start to dive in deep. You know, it's one thing when you're just hopping in, you don't pay attention to that, but you know, on a lot of these aircraft, I really do. I focus on this stuff, and again, it's part of my job too. When doing these reviews, I feel is to be overcritical, right? Because those are the things that make sense. And then you can click on the seatbelt, get rid of the pilot. I don't know if we can open the door from down here yet. I was trying the other day. Oh, that turned my pilot on. Oh, there we go. All right, so there's one door open. A lot of the animations are still... There we go. That's where we click to open the doors. A lot of the animations are still very slow. I'd like to see, hopefully, them speed that up somehow in the near future. Same thing with the switches. The switches still operate very slowly. Doesn't look like that switch is modeled yet. Like if we check, that should be the primer switch. Yeah. So the depression and activation of switches is still very slow. Like you can see that one there. So it would be nice to see that accelerate at some point, but it is what it is. Other than that, you know, I'm not gonna be picky. I think this thing's absolutely fantastic. I love this aircraft. So with that being said, let's walk through the startup and see what we can come up with here. By the way, real quick, guys, if there is a lot of echo in this video, I do apologize. We just had wood flooring installed throughout the house this week, and so now yours truly gets to do some research on sound dampening and figure out how to eliminate that the most effectively. So it's going to take me a little bit, so the next few videos may be a little bit tinny. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. I don't know what the EMS DC receptacle is, so we're going to have to look at that. I'm kind of curious. Inventory, standby battery. And you know what? I wonder, is there a checklist for this yet? There is. All right, sorry about that. I had a 5-year-old burst in like she was the police. All right, so we can take a look at a lot of this stuff here. Is this really using... All right, flap selector. This must be from... They must have used another aircraft for the model. Yeah, okay, that's not right. I'm not sure. Huh, I don't know where that's from, but I don't think it's for us. Huh, okay. Disregard that. All right, so let's go ahead and just get her started here. All right, so first go back up top. Let's see, they've moved a few things here, so bear with me for a second. Battery master. It's going to be avionics 1, avionics 2. Fuel pumps. Strobe lights, position lights, anti-collision lights. And I'm looking for the external power unit, but let's prime both tanks. Assuming it's just like anything else. Turn the rotor lock off. I'm not sure if it's functioning yet. And let's get engine 1 rolling. Acceleration on the prop is getting better and better and better as it goes through the startup procedures. Start number 2. Oh, there's the EPU right there. Now I will say the screen brightness is a little powerful. Let's see if we can change any of that. Doesn't look like it. Alright, well, let's go FADEC on. Alright, now as always, let's take a nice little cruise. See how she's feeling today. Alright, so you can see her starting to torque, adding left rotor to counteract it. Going back on the stick. Oh, baby. Oh, too much, too much, too much. Mercy. Okay, yeah. I say this every time, man, but I'm telling you, every time I get in this thing, it gets harder and harder to fly. And there we go. Alright, so the screen brightness is really brutal. I will say that. So I'm kind of curious if there's a way for us to adjust that. Looks like that's all going to be the same information like we saw before. So we're going to have to look at some of that. Now in the daylight, I can't see that being an issue at all. Maybe it's just, you know, I don't know if it's placebo effect or what here, but everything feels smoother. The motions are being less animated in the aspect that it feeling less fake, if that makes sense. As you can see, I mean, you guys tell me what you think in the comments below. It feels very, feels much more controlled, if you will, much more natural. I mean, look how much the aircraft's still going in that other direction. Before, when I would do this, it was much easier to get it into an orbit, a nose-on orbit. I mean, you kicked the tail rotor over and off she went. Where right there we saw that that bleed of forward momentum before it would come around. I don't recall ever experiencing that before. You know, as soon as I turned the tail rotor, off she'd go. This is so much fun to do. I don't know why, but it is. I feel like I don't know how the searchlight works. I can't see that. All right, so let's back that up for a second. Autopilot. There we go. Let's see here. I think I would assume just like anything else. And if I put set our altitude to 400 there. We do autopilot. So that definitely smoothed out. That wasn't near as aggressive as it was before. But we are descending. Oh, probably helps if I hit altitude hold. Now it looks like my flashlight is turning on as the sun gets down. Now I'm not gonna like that. Definitely not going to like that. Yep, that's definitely what that is. And I can't remember. Let's look and see what the control scheme for that is. I don't remember how to disable the flashlight. So let's check that for a second. Oh, toggle flashlight. That's helpful. Let's see here. Do I have anything bound here? Oh. What? What do you mean? I'm on the keyboard. What do you mean I'm trying to select an input that's not selected? Cancel. Keyboard. Okay. Search. Ah, was that Alt and I? Is that right? Whoa, that was craziness right there. You know what, though? There we go. Alt and L. That's a really hard one to put on anybody as far as that weird jolting it just did, because, I mean, I swear, man, anytime you come out of pause in this simulator, something happens. It drives me crazy. Alright, so let's take a look over here. What do we got over here? GCT speed exceeded. We got rotor trim, torque trim, okay. And let's go back here for a second. Let's take a look at the searchlight. Alright. Searchlight feature has caused game crashing CTD for a very small number of users. The crash is only expected immediately after clicking this button. Here we go. Okay. So we clicked it. We survived. That's wow. Okay, that's dramatic. Alright, so autopilot looks like still needs a bit more tuning. But that's okay. Ah, there it is. It's even got the flickering that you would see. How's our autopilot doing? Let's keep bringing it around. So I can't remember if you're able to map these controls. Oh, that moved the camera. We'll have to check into that and see if there's a way to configure these controls. I thought there was. So let's see here. We got a... Oh, that literally points it up. Okay, so it will flash up into the cockpit. That's good to know. Let's fire it off into these buildings here. Ah, look at that. That's actually really well done. Run a little search and rescue here. Now I can tell it's just a graphical effect that's highlighting an area versus actually treating it like a light. At least that's what it looks like to me. But still, you could make some pretty cool simulations, you know, with this. You know what they need? I don't know if it exists yet. I'll have to look around. They need something that will enable you to just create scenarios, sort of like Skypark has, right? But instead of, you know, making cargo deliveries and things like that, have police pursuits or I don't know, search and, like I said, search and rescue, things like that. I think it'd be kind of fun. Anyway, all right, let's turn the light off. I'll have to play with that a little bit more later. So, anyway, guys, like I said, if you have not tried this helicopter out, I highly recommend it. It's just too much fun. And the animations are getting cooler and cooler. The graphics for this aircraft are getting better and better. The flight model is just getting insanely better. You can hear that rotor speed change as I'm pulling the collective off. But the screens are really bright. I don't know if I'm missing a brightness control yet or not. That's something we're going to have to look into. Bad time to be messing around with the MFD, huh? Come on, come on. Let's get over to our spot here. Nose down a little bit, trying to get control back here, get some authority here. It's really weird doing this from the external view. Yeah, that's not good. Not good. Not gonna work. Let's land it. Oh girl. Oh girl. Whew. All right. So anyway, guys, as always, link down in the description below. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion of this aircraft, especially if you're someone who's flying it. If you haven't tried it and you're real skeptical about it, I'm telling you, give it a shot. I promise she won't disappoint you to an extreme extent here. Obviously, there are features that are still being developed. There are things that are still being added. It's important to remember this is a completely freeware aircraft at this time and was built from the ground up. So, I mean, you can't knock them. I mean, the fact that it's even available to us is fantastic in my opinion. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.